Is David Seymour a racist? This is a controversial question. Some time ago, a moron from the Maori Party challenged David Seymour to a charity fight. And David Seymour dismissed this challenge as primitive and thuggish. Those were the words that he chose to use. This is not even dog whistling. This is like referring to a Jew as a scheming penny chaser. It is just obviously racist, suggesting that Maori critics are primitive thugs. He is attempting to appeal to a very, very racist group of people. He is also normalizing racist rhetoric, dragging it into the political mainstream, one racist virtue signal at a time. I doubt that Seymour is personally racist, but it is very obvious that he makes a deliberate effort at appealing to racists. David Seymour is a very competent politician. He never just says something. Everything that comes out of his mouth is calculated and considered. He uses certain words to appeal to certain people. And it is pretty obvious who you are trying to appeal to when you dismiss a Maori activist as a primitive thug. I have nothing but disdain for this form of politics, and I say that as someone who is a relentless critic of the Maori Party. I generally wouldn't argue that Seymour is racist, but he is indifferent. He doesn't oppose racism. Although you could argue that David Seymour is racist. David Seymour has been asked on many occasions about the appalling inequalities that Maori face. The lower life expectancy, the disproportionate poverty. Seymour seems to take issue with the mere mention of these disparities, arguing that we shouldn't even categorize people by race. He seems to oppose the mere mention of such statistics. I think wanting us to be blind to these issues is stupid and evil. If one racial group is way poorer than the others and has far lower life expectancy, that is a problem, and we should probably attempt to solve it. But Seymour seemingly takes issue with the mere mention of these disparities. He wants us to ignore them. And I find that very suspect, because the logical conclusion of such a thing is the maintenance of those hideous disparities. You can oppose race-based solutions while recognizing that racial inequalities are very real and a very serious issue. Seymour's willful ignorance guarantees their perpetual continuation. And why? Because he is so intent on being colorblind that he won't acknowledge obviously racist outcomes. There is nothing anti-racist about that. To the contrary, it facilitates real racism. This is like saying, I am so anti-racist that I refuse to acknowledge that most slaves are black. I just don't see skin color. It is stupid, and it serves only to maintain injustice under a very, very thin veneer of anti-racism. David Seymour is not simply against race-based solutions, he seems to take issue with the mere mention of racial inequality, as though caring about these things is somehow wrong. That indifference should be firmly rejected. It is callous, it is amoral, it is unjustified, it is evil. David Seymour must be voted out at the next election. He represents a very grotesque, disingenuous form of right-wing politics. He propagates racist attitudes and racist outcomes in a bid at obscuring his anti-worker crusade.